The Enchantments of Winnie and Greg, a delightful collection of children's stories written by Laura Workman, illustrated by Art Portra, narrated by the author, Laura Workman. Where Did Greggy Come From is written by Laura Workman, illustrated by Art Portra. Where Did Greggy Come From is part of a series called The Enchantments of Winnie and Greg. Once upon a time, there was a young lady named Mimi. She was loving, fun, and had a little boy she simply adored. There was, however, a twinkle in her eye. Mimi looked up to heaven and asked for a little girl. You must always look toward heaven when you want your wish to come true. When the time was right, a baby named Celeste was born to Mimi. Mimi thought she was perfect in every way with her chestnut hair, laughing eyes, and little rosebud lips. Celeste was petite and always wanted to be with Mimi. They were inseparable and even dressed alike. Celeste grew up and went away to school. Mimi moved to hot and sunny Arizona. Celeste finished school and moved to Arizona with a new baby. Mimi was delighted, and it was love at first sight. "Such a happy baby you have. How fun," Mimi said. "I had no idea how hard it is to be a mommy," Celeste replied. "Yes, it can be hard at times, but I can already tell that you are a good mommy," Mimi said, beaming. "Uh-oh, I think I see a twinkle in your eye. You want another baby, don't you?" "Well," Celeste said slowly, "I think Winnie is lonely and needs a big brother. I found a little boy who needs a home. I started the legal paperwork and I should be able to adopt him tomorrow." "Oh, honey," exclaimed Mimi, "that's so wonderful," and gave Celeste a big hug. First thing in the morning, everyone was bustling around and getting ready for the big event. Winnie was a baby and didn't know she was getting a brother. However, she could tell there was excitement in the air. "We have to be there at 10 o'clock in the morning," Celeste said while bundling Winnie up. "You take care of Winnie and I'll drive," said Mimi. They arrived promptly at 9:50 a.m. Celeste scooped Winnie up from the car seat and the three of them went inside. Celeste gave the receptionist her name. They sat down and waited. 5 minutes passed. Celeste heard her name and stood up. She handed Winnie to Mimi, who started growling in Winnie's ear. "I'd like to go alone when I meet Greg in person," Celeste said to Mimi. "That's fine," replied Mimi. "We'll wait here." "I'm a little nervous. I've only seen a couple pictures of him, and all I know is his name is Greg," whispered Celeste. "You'll be fine. It's meant to be. I can feel it," Mimi whispered back. Celeste took a deep breath, turned, and walked through the door to meet her boy. A nice lady took her to a room and opened the door. Celeste went in, took one look around, and found Greg. "Greg, you're still here. I found you months ago, but I couldn't get here until today." "Mommy," Greg said, sticking his paw out from inside his kennel. "Mommy, you are my mommy and I love you," Greg exclaimed. "I love you too, Greggy," Mommy said. "Let's get you out of this cage and home with us. You have a sister," she continued. and Mimi is with her. Mimi is my mommy. Wow! A sister, Mimi, and a mommy all at once. This is my lucky day, Greg said with glee. Mommy and Greg went out to the waiting room. Mimi woke Winnie up. Winnie kissed Greg's cheek, bit his ear, and fell back asleep. Mimi hugged and kissed Greg, welcoming him into the family. Greg wiggled from head to tail with such happiness he could hardly contain it. He had happy feet. Greg, what's the first thing you would like to do? Mommy asked. Could we get some ice cream? Greg wondered. Ice cream? Any day of the week. Let's go, Mommy proclaimed. She is such a good mommy. And that, dear children, was the beginning of many splendid adventures. The end. Where Did Greggy Come From was narrated by the author, Laura Workman. Thank you for listening. Winnie Sings the Songs of Her Ancestors. Written by Laura Workman. Illustrated by Art Portra. Winnie Sings the Songs of Her Ancestors is part of the series called The Enchantments of Winnie and Greg. Winnie, Greg, time for bed, Mommy yelled up the stairs. Oh, Mommy, I don't want to go to bed yet. There's too much fun left in the day, Winnie exclaimed. What has you so ornery today? You're acting like wild animals, said Mommy as she climbed up the stairs. We're sorry, Mommy, but we feel like wild animals, Greg playfully growled as he pounced around Mommy's feet. All right, my wild little beasts. Tame yourselves long enough to get into some pajamas. Mommy helped Winnie and Greg get dressed. Winnie chose her favorite nightgown, a light pink one with white ruffles and tiny red roses. Greg picked his red and black plaid flannel nightshirt. It was supposed to be cold tonight. He wanted to be warm as he kept watch because everyone who knew Greg said he was the world's best guard dog. Greg sometimes joked that he had a superpower vision for bad guys and he could sleep with one eye open. Mommy led the way to her room. Winnie and Greg always slept in Mommy's bed. They each jumped onto the bed and found their usual spots. Winnie flopped down on a pillow, just like Mommy. Greg was at the foot of the bed to keep watch. Mommy read them 2 stories, kissed each one on the cheek, and turned out the light. She had to go to the kitchen to wash the dirty dishes. Greg and Winnie heard Mommy in the kitchen as they gazed outside through the window at the full moon. It was an unusual moon tonight, big, round, and orange. Winnie decided that she quite liked the view. Greg wasn't so sure. He did not like the way that things looked different tonight. A big orange moon made him nervous. He did like that it was much brighter in the backyard, which made his important job of keeping watch much easier. The next thing that Winnie knew was that she was jolted awake. She didn't remember falling asleep, and she didn't notice when Mommy came to bed. What was that? The sound spoke to Winnie's heart. She saw that Mommy and Greg were fast asleep. They didn't hear a thing. What kind of a guard dog sleeps at a time like this? Winnie thought to herself. She heard the mysterious sounds again and she sprung up. That noise, it was singing. It was her wild relative singing to the moon. Winnie took a leap and soared off the bed. She had to sing too. She ran to the big glass door in the family room. The family room was filled with a soft orange glow from the light of the moon. She stood on her back legs and reached out with her front paws to lean on the glass. She threw her head back and sang with all her might. She didn't notice, but Mommy and Greg stood in the doorway, watching her sing the ancient songs of her ancestors. Mommy had a smile on her face, and Greg was nestled in her arms with one eye open. The songs were finally done, and Winnie sat down in a heap. She was tired. Mommy laughed and scooped her up. It was time to go back to bed. They all found their cozy spots and drifted off to sleep once again. Winnie heard the songs in her heart and started dreaming of living in the woods in the wild. A smile crossed her face, and Greg saw it all. The end. Winnie Sings the Songs of Her Ancestors was narrated by the author, Laura Workman. Thank you for listening. Winnie and Greg Get Skunked. Written by Laura Workman. Illustrated by Art Portra. Winnie and Greg Get Skunked is part of the series called The Enchantments of Winnie and Greg. Winnie, Greg, time to go outside, Mommy called by the front door. Coming, Mommy, Winnie and Greg said in unison. Mommy helped Winnie and Greg get dressed for the outdoors. Mommy, where are my pink boots? Winnie asked. They are right here under your sweater, Mommy answered. Greggy, she continued, here's your plaid scarf. Thank you, Mommy, Greg said excitedly. Greggy loves going outside. It looks cold. May I have my hat too? Greggy asked. Of course, she said while tossing the hat to Greg. The puppies were bundled up and rushed out to the tree where a ground stake had their leashes attached. They stood impatiently while Mommy put their leashes on. I don't see why I have to wear this leash, Winnie said with a huff. I'm a big girl and I can take care of myself. Mommy gave Winnie a warning look and said, Winnie, watch your tone of voice, please. If you stay on the leash, you will be safe. You won't be safe by the road or where the skunks are. Mommy knows what's best for you. Winnie put her head down and mumbled, Okay, Mommy. I have to go to work soon, so you only have 10 minutes, Mommy said, rushing back inside. Not even a minute passed when Winnie went still as a stone. She was staring at something. What was it? Greg, look at that animal over by the corner of the house. What is it? Winnie whispered. I don't know, Greg whispered back. It kind of looks like a cat. A smelly cat. Let's go find out, Winnie declared. I'll need your help. Winnie, Greg said, exasperated. No, we can't do that. You heard what Mommy said. She knows best. Come on, Greg. Where's your sense of adventure? I just saw another one. There are 2 cat creatures over there. Let's go say hi, Winnie said with glee. 2? Really? Greg said, astonished. How do we get over there? We have our leashes on, Greggy wanted to know. Like this, Winnie said. Watch me. She walked as far as the leash would allow her to go. She started to pull on the leash, which pulled on the ground stake. If you pull with me, We can pull the stake out of the ground and go see what those animals are over there. Let's do it, Greg said, lost in the moment. He was a guard dog, so shouldn't he go check it out? He wondered to himself. We have to hurry because Mommy will be back soon, Winnie exclaimed. Right, said Greg as they both pulled on their leashes. Heave, ho, heave, ho, Winnie called out. Next thing they knew, the stake was pulled out and they ran toward the corner of the house. I'd stop right there if I were you, the cat creature called out. Winnie couldn't help herself and dragged poor Greggy along. The next thing the pups knew is that the cat creatures, usually called skunks, turned around and sprayed them. Winnie and Greg yelped in surprise and pain. What is that awful smell? Winnie cried. Just then, Mommy came out to get her darling puppies, but they weren't there. Mommy's heart sank. Winnie! Greg, where are you? She called. Then she heard her puppies yelp. She rushed to the corner of the house and saw the skunks run into the woods. Are you okay? Mommy asked, very concerned. I told you to stay on your leash because I made sure that you were in the safest place in the yard. You pulled the stake out and disobeyed me. Because you disobeyed me, you got into a fight with skunks and lost. I was very frightened when I came outside to get you and you were gone. I'm not going to punish you because getting sprayed by a skunk is punishment enough. Let's go inside so I can wash you with tomato juice. That's the best way to get rid of the smell, Mommy said, leading the pups inside. Ugh, a bath with tomato juice. I'm sorry, Mommy, Winnie said, most apologetically. I'm sorry, Mommy, Greg said. I tried to stop her and then I got caught up in the excitement. I forgive both of you. Now let's get cleaned up, Mommy said, with love in her eyes. After your bath, let's all have a cup of hot chocolate and then Mommy will go to work. Okay, the puppies smiled together. That was a lesson they would never forget. The end. Winnie and Greg Get Skunked was narrated by the author, Laura Workman. Thank you for listening. Winnie and Greg Meet Gary the Groundhog. Written by Laura Workman. Illustrated by Art Portra. Winnie and Greg Meet Gary the Groundhog is part of the series called The Enchantments of Winnie and Greg. Winnie, Mommy called. It's time to go outside. Greg stood patiently by the door as Mommy fixed his scarf. Come on, Winnie, Greg said. Let's go out and play. But there's a groundhog in the front yard, Winnie exclaimed. I need to watch him. He might steal my toys, she said. Don't be silly, Mommy laughed. No one wants to steal your toys, especially a groundhog. I'm not so sure, Winnie mumbled under her breath as she came over to Mommy. What did you say, little girl? Mommy asked with a stern look on her face. Nothing, Winnie said, blushing. The last one out is a rotten egg, Greg said as Mommy opened the door and he took off for the grass. Greggy, Winnie whined, that's not fair. She rushed out once Mommy put her leash on and headed out the door. Winnie, "Slow down," Mommy exclaimed. "I want to see the groundhog," Winnie said, mustering all the strength she had to go around the house. Mommy stopped her. "Winnie, it's not safe for you to go in the front yard. Remember the skunks?" Winnie did remember the skunks and stopped dead in her tracks. Her last encounter with a skunk involved a tomato juice bath and being stinky for days. She let out a big heavy sigh and walked to the backyard with Mommy. "Maybe he'll come to see you." "Maybe," Winnie repeated back. She gave up trying to see the groundhog and noticed 2 bunnies. "Hi, bunnies," Winnie said with a big smile on her face. "I love bunnies," she grinned. Mommy got the puppies settled outside and went back in to make lunch. Greg was sniffing around, making sure that no new intruders had been on his property. That Greg, he really was the world's best guard dog. He was always working, making sure that Mommy and his sister were safe. Winnie was talking with the 2 bunnies when she noticed their ears perk up. They were staring at something by the tree in the front yard. "That's a funny-looking dog," one of them said, pointing to the groundhog. "That's not a dog," Winnie said excitedly. "It's a groundhog." "Not it. Gary is my name. Gary the groundhog. I saw you looking at me through the window earlier," Gary said politely as he waddled to the backyard. "What you doing in the front yard?" Winnie wanted to know. "Hunting for bugs," said Gary. "The tree in the front yard has some juicy ones. My kids love them." "Kids? You have kids?" said Winnie, surprised. "I sure do," said Gary. 4 of them. If you promise to be good, I'll let you meet them." Winnie started jumping up and down. "Oh boy, would I!" Gary let out a loud whistle and 4 miniature Garys came running out from under a bush. Greg wandered over to see what the excitement was and started jumping too. "This is Billy, Millie, Tilly, and Lily. 3 girls and a boy. They aren't big enough to talk yet." The 2 pups, 4 baby groundhogs, and 2 bunnies started chasing each other around the tree. There was quite a ruckus because everyone was laughing so much. Mommy stuck her head out. "Everything okay?" she asked. Greg gave her the high sign and went back to playing. Mommy smiled and went back inside to finish preparing their food. "Silly puppies having so much fun," she thought to herself. She let them play a while longer and called them in for lunch. She gave the bunnies and the groundhogs carrots, which made them all very happy. "That was fun! Wasn't that fun, Greggy?" Winnie asked her brother as she tried to catch her breath. "Uh-huh," Greg said, breathless as well. "I hope to see them again." "I have a feeling you will," Mommy said as she cut the peanut butter sandwiches into triangles, just the way her babies liked it. The puppies ate their sandwiches with gusto and asked to go back outside to play some more. "Winnie," Mommy said, "I'm proud of you for making friends so easily. Sometimes it's not easy making friends with someone who is very different from you. If you give a new person a chance, you never know what you could learn from them or how much fun you can have." Winnie smiled as she got ready to play some more. Mommy took them back out where their new friends were waiting by the big oak tree in the backyard. Winnie, Greg, and their new friends played for the rest of the afternoon. Mommy had a peaceful time knitting inside, nestled up in a cozy chair. The end. Winnie and Greg Meet Gary the Groundhog was narrated by the author, Laura Workman. Thank you for listening. Greggy Learns to Tap Dance. Written by Laura Workman. Illustrated by Art Portra. Greggy Learns to Tap Dance is part of the series called The Enchantments of Winnie and Greg. Winnie, Greg, breakfast is ready, Mommy called toward the bedroom from the kitchen. The puppies came running, excited for Saturday breakfast. Mommy didn't have to work on Saturdays, and she always made pancakes for her babies. "Oh, boy!" Greggy exclaimed, his feet going a mile a minute. "Greggy, you sure have happy feet," Mommy laughed as she put the pancakes on the table. "I sure like pancakes," Greggy exclaimed. Winnie followed close behind, not wanting to miss anything. Greggy danced round and round as Mommy set the table. Winnie climbed into her chair while her brother did the two-step. "Greggy, you sure have some fancy footwork there. I bet you would make a good tap dancer," Mommy said, with an idea forming in her mind. "What's tap dancing?" Winnie asked, always the curious one. "It's when you have special taps or metal plates attached to the bottom of your shoes and you dance in time to the beat of the music," Mommy said, smiling broadly. "I think I may have a little tap dancer on my hands." "Ooh," said Greg, "that sounds like fun." He finally settled down and let Mommy put him in a seat. "Chocolate chip pancakes, my favorite." Mommy and the puppies enjoyed their pancakes with real maple syrup. Such a treat. Once they finished, they took their dishes to the sink and ran to the bathroom to get cleaned up. Mommy washed the dishes while Greg and Winnie got ready for the day. Once everyone was ready to go, they put their coats and boots on and headed out the door. "Where are we going first?" Winnie wanted to know. Mommy replied, "I thought we'd head to the park and get a little exercise." "Yay!" the puppies cheered. They piled into the car and made their way to the park. Mommy got out and opened the back door for her kids. She tossed the frisbee to her puppies. They played catch, hide and go seek, and racing games. They were all tired out, so they went for ice cream. Winnie always asked for hers in a bowl so it wouldn't make her fur sticky. Greggy preferred a cone so he could eat every last drop. Ice cream just happened to be Greggy's other favorite food. Chocolate, of course. Winnie liked to get the twist, where there were two flavors of chocolate and vanilla twisted together. She could never decide which she preferred, so she got both. This was actually her brother's suggestion because he was such a good problem solver. Mommy got a chocolate cone with a crunchy coat. While they were enjoying the cold deliciousness, Mommy pointed across the street to a large red brick building. "See that building over there?" she asked. "It's a school of fine arts." Winnie was just about to ask what fine arts was when Mommy continued talking. "It's a special school where you can learn things like acting, singing, drawing, and yes, tap dancing," she said with a squeal. The puppies jumped up and down. "Can we go? Can we go?" they begged Mommy. "Of course, my darlings. That is our next stop," she smiled. They finished their ice cream and hurried across the street. Mommy opened the front door to the building and the puppies rushed in. They stopped abruptly when they saw a lady at the desk. "May I help you?" the lady asked. My, what lovely children you have, the kind lady said to Mommy. Why, thank you, Mommy answered with a smile. We're here to find out about classes for my babies. This is Greg, and he's interested in tap dancing. Splendid, the lady exclaimed. And how about the young lady? What are you interested in learning? My name is Winnie, and I want to be a ballerina, Winnie said, matter-of-factly. But of course, my name is Madame Michelle, and I teach here. I actually teach both classes. Our next semester starts next week, so your timing is perfect, she said enthusiastically. Are you interested in any other classes? I think a painting class too, Mommy said thoughtfully. Greg started getting happy feet because he was so excited. Madame Michelle laughed when she saw him. He's ready for tap dancing, that's for sure. The puppies were signed up for dance lessons and a painting class. Mommy signed up for a voice class so she could sing like an opera singer. Next, they went to a dance shop to get the proper shoes for their dance classes. Winnie had to get a pink tutu. Every ballerina needs a tutu, she proclaimed. Mommy heartily agreed. Greg was so impressed with his tap shoes that he wanted to wear them home. Sorry, Greggy, you can't wear your dance shoes outside. Same with you, Winnie. The dirt and mud will ruin your shoes. You can wear them in the house if you like, Mommy told them. The puppies worked hard at their dance classes, and before they knew it, it was time for the recital. They got to learn special dances for the big day and wear fun costumes too. Greggy looked so smart in his top hat, bow tie, and vest. Winnie fluttered about, dressed as a pretty little butterfly. Greg proved to be a natural at tap dancing, and Winnie held her own as a new ballerina. They even did a ballet and tap dance combo to surprise Mommy. Mommy sat in the audience, her eyes glistening with pride at her talented pups. When the show was over, they all went for ice cream. As Greg ate his chocolate cone and Winnie was enjoying her twist in a bowl, Mommy was nibbling on her chocolate cone with the crunchy coat. She swelled with pride as she told her puppies how very proud she was. They worked so hard and performed such a good dance that there was a standing ovation. It's important to learn new things because you never know what you might be good at, Mommy said. Greggy, you are quite the tap dancer, and Winnie, you make such a good ballerina. Once you find something that you like to do and you're good at, the next thing to do is practice. The more you practice, the better you'll get. Is that why you're a good singer, Mommy? Winnie wanted to know. Why, yes, thank you, Winnie, Mommy said with a blush. I've taken classes for a long time, and things that used to be hard to do aren't that hard anymore. You've heard the expression, practice makes perfect? The puppies nodded yes. Practice is the key to success. The puppies agreed that they would keep up the hard work because someday they wanted to be good enough to dance on the Disney cruise ship. It's always good to have a goal, Mommy laughed. They finished their ice cream and went home. The end. Greggy Learns to Tap Dance was narrated by the author, Laura Workman. Thank you for listening. Winnie and Greg Are Bad Guys. Written by Laura Workman. Illustrated by Art Portra. Winnie and Greg Are Bad Guys is part of the series called The Enchantments of Winnie and Greg. Winnie and Greg, Mommy called up the stairs. Breakfast is ready. You're as hungry as bears." "Oh boy, Mommy," Greggy yelled down below. "Is it pancakes? Please let it be pancakes." He couldn't say no. Mommy smiled and said, "It's Saturday. Yes, it's pancakes. No surprise. Hurry up now, you're hungry. I also made fries." Greggy and Winnie tore down the stairs. Those Saturday breakfasts, nothing else compares. "Mommy," Greg said in between bites, "I dreamt we were bad guys." She laughed and asked, "Were we in disguise?" "What did we say? What did we do?" Winnie exclaimed, not having a clue. "We were so bad. We did so many things. I couldn't believe it, not even in my dreams. We were jaywalking, going outside the lines, littering like we didn't care. We got tickets and fines." Winnie wanted to know, "What else do we do?" The story's so unbelievable, it couldn't be true. "We were running in hallways and pulling cats' tails, not wearing seatbelts, going off the rails, not returning library books, cutting in line, not holding the door in elevators. We certainly weren't kind. We trespassed on neighbors' lawns, talked too loud in the library. I could go on, but the list is quite scary." Winnie was speechless. She didn't know what to say. Walking around as bad guys, that couldn't be okay. Greggy looked worried. He didn't know what to do. Was he turning to the dark side? No, that couldn't be true. "Mommy, am I a bad guy now?" Mommy laughed. Winnie squealed. "No, Greggy, it was just a dream. Honey, it wasn't real." "Phew," Greggy exclaimed with such relief you could see it. "Just checking, Mommy." That dream was bad. He didn't want to repeat it. "You're the world's best guard dog. #1, you're a star." Mommy hugged him and smiled. "Greggy, you're gonna go far." "What about me, Mommy? Am I a star too?" Winnie asked with food in her mouth as she started to chew. "Of course, baby girl. You're so smart and so neat. Whatever you do, you can't be beat." Mommy hugged her babies, her heart full of pride and love. She squeezed them tight, thanking the heavens above. The end. Winnie and Greg Are Bad Guys was narrated by the author, Laura Workman. Thank you for listening. The Enchantments of Winnie and Greg, a delightful collection of children's stories, was narrated by the author, Laura Workman. Thank you for listening.